The Nintendo 3DS. I'm not quite sure if I can call this a classic yet, but with the Switch getting on 2 years old and me being frugal as a rich guy shopping at a Dollar Tree, I feel like it'd be a great time to look at the 3DS library. I really missed out on every game basically for the 3DS besides like Ocarina of Time 3D and Pokemon Y. So today I'm going to find out if the 3DS is the perfect system to buy into while waiting for, I don't know, I was actually going to make this video a long time ago before any good games came out for the Switch, so I don't know, WarioWare for Switch, there we go, sure. So, the 3DS. When this console first came out, it was met with a resounding meh. It was released in early 2011 with a price tag of $250, nearly the cost of a Switch. You can actually buy a Switch used for around there, right now. And this, along with some honestly pretty horrible launch titles, led to a really disappointing launch overall. The console itself was cool. It was finally proper 3D graphics with a relatively higher res screen. Oh, and it did that 3D thing or whatever. But in the first few months, there was no Pokemon, there was no Zelda, there was no Mario, nothing big at all. In terms of Zelda, all you had was Ocarina of Time coming out in June, and with Mario, you had to wait until November for a new Mario game. Not even to mention Pokemon or Metroid. Does anyone actually play Metroid anymore? Whatever. Either way, the launch of the 3DS was pretty mediocre, with poor sales. If you bought a 3DS, you were essentially just having faith in Nintendo and hoping that something good would come out. So Nintendo, in an effort to make all of their diehard fans hate them, dropped the price by a third to $170. Of course, they did give you a ton of free games for being an early supporter, but still. After this, more and more games started to be released, and the 3DS finally started to really hold its own as the successor to the DS. But now, with the Switch out, the 3DS is slowly being forgotten. The 3DS came out all the way back in early 2011, Jesus Christ, with a few versions released over the years. The 3DS XL, the 2DS, the 2DS XL, and the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL, and finally the new 2DS XL. Honestly, there are more 3DS versions than there are Wii U users, and this really shows because if you look on eBay, the prices are kind of all over the place. But if you just want an original 3DS, you can get one for like $90 right now. And this, along with some fantastic games, will give you just so much for so cheap. Seriously, the value of this thing is just unprecedented. You can get GBC games, NES games, SNES games, and so many other games, but keep in mind though, some games require the new 3DS rather than the OG 3DS or 3DS XL. Like SNES games, I think, some of them, I don't know. But seriously, there are so many damn games for this thing. If you count remakes, that's every single mainline Pokemon game. And if you count actually good games, then rest in peace Gen 3, I guess. Unless you emulate, which is another massive plus to this little console. If you emulate on the new 3DS, you have access to Game Boy Advance games, which gives you the option of playing a good version of Gen 3 Pokemon and some other classics. But since I'd rather not do that, I decided not to. Not because I couldn't figure it out, and the list doesn't even end there. If you want to emulate more games, you can play SNES games and some N64 games, I guess, if they work. And I haven't even mentioned regular 3DS games. You've got Zelda, you got Metroid, you got Pokemon, and of course you got WarioWare. This video is basically just me listing the crazy capabilities of this console to generate pure unadulterated fun. I know I missed a lot of games, but the two people would probably get really mad about are Animal Crossing and Bravely Default. So, there. Oh, and also that fighting game thing. So, in light of all this, I decided to buy an old 3DS and some games. In terms of games, I got Majora's Mask 3D, Pokemon Moon, and A Link Between Worlds. That's not all, though. To test out the Virtual Console, I decided to pick up Mario 3. Mario 3 was literally just $5, and all the other games were all under $20. It's crazy how cheap it is. Oh, and I got a stylus because I lost my old one like 7 or 8 years ago. Now, you may be thinking, why would I not just get a Switch? It has several times the power, a much better screen, arguably better controls, and you can dock it if you're one of those people that uses it handheld and docked. Or maybe that's everyone besides me. I don't get out much. But the Switch is significantly more expensive due to it being new, and all the games are still going for basically MSRP all the time. Oh, and the Switch is massive, so you can't just take it wherever you want. Just fit, damn it! The 3DS, however, can literally fit into almost any pocket. Unless you get the XL, then have fun with that. So, to see if the 3DS is still any good, I decided to go right back into 2012 and start bringing my 3DS places along with my iPod Touch, Gangnam Style on repeat, and my Beyblades, which I don't know if that was a thing for everyone or for just my friends. Either way, it just has a special way of filling empty moments with some fun gaming. Besides Mario 3, fuck Mario 3. Just, Mario, jump! Oh my god! I'm getting better at this. Usually I'd just browse my phone and look at Instagram or browse Twitter until I get mad and decide to quit again for the third time this day. But the 3DS honestly has a really interesting side effect I wasn't really prepared for. It keeps you off social media. Social media, in my opinion, can be kind of toxic sometimes, and I'd prefer to avoid spending large amounts of time on it, but sometimes you just have time to kill. Waiting for food to arrive at a restaurant, sitting in a car, or being an angsty teenager, ignoring your parents at dinner. In all these situations, normally you just go on your phone and look at how much better everyone else's life is while keeping a tab open on how to tie a noose. But with the 3DS, I noticed that I just pull that out and enjoy myself significantly more than I would otherwise. Rather than just scroll endlessly on Instagram, I hop on a link between worlds and actually enjoy myself. But while playing during the day, I did notice that in broad daylight it was nearly impossible to see the screen. I kept seeing my fat neck whenever the screen went black. I am, however, still enjoying my time with the 3DS and having fun. So this probably raises the obvious question. If I'm enjoying the 3DS and games so much, why not just emulate using Citra? You can get all the games for well, not free, but if we're being honest, free. Plus, you can upscale your games and get stuff like save states for when you decide you hate yourself enough to play Master Quest. Oh, and ultra-wide games. I always wanted half my screen to be a menu. But the reason is, well... Wait, it works? What? Well, it kind of works, I guess. It works like... in some games. Like Ocarina of Time, it basically works perfectly, honestly. But other games like Super Mario 3D Land give me performance issues, and sometimes I have to tweak the settings for some games like A Link Between Worlds, so it doesn't do well that. Of course, though, your mileage will vary depending on your system, but for me, it was really far from ideal. Plus, emulating a portable console, in my opinion, is just defeating the purpose of a portable console. I genuinely did love taking my 3DS places, and even just playing it late at night in bed was a fantastic experience, and made me feel like I was 7 playing Mystery Dungeon on my old red Game Boy with bite marks. I had problems with that game. But an emulator just ruins any chances of that happening. Yeah, Citra lets you raise the internal resolution, but the games were designed with the low-res screen in mind, so I personally don't feel like most games are worth losing portability for some sharpness. So while emulation is a fantastic option, and it actually works, I just really prefer using a proper 3DS. Oh, and piracy's bad or whatever. So, is the 3DS worth it, even with the Switch being out? I mean, I personally think it absolutely is. The 3DS and its games are absurdly cheap, and they're still supported, for now at least. Rip the Wii Shop. I think there is no better option for portable Nintendo gaming currently. I mean, yeah, the Switch exists, but it's expensive, and it's not nearly as portable in my opinion. In the future, when the Switch gets better virtual console support and a few more first-party games, it will be utterly fantastic. It might even make the 3DS redundant. But with where we're at now, just stop watching and get a 3DS if you don't have one. It might not be the most revolutionary portable console ever released, but it was certainly one of the best. So thank you guys for watching. It's weird not having a script to read, because I've been reading a script for 20 minutes. But thank you guys for watching. This is kind of different if you're not used to the beginning of my channel, because this is actually like more like roots stuff or whatever. This was supposed to be my 2-year anniversary video on like June 10th, but it's been like a month now, so that didn't work out. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you don't like this video, I'll probably make more regular videos that aren't regular, but they're still regular for you because you weren't a regular when regular videos were still regular. So, you know, that's cool or whatever. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Do all the YouTube things you're supposed to do. And I'll see you next time. Wow, 93 markers. This is going to be fun to edit. Jesus Christ.